moved to Fidelity. From Fidelity, it had 799,000 or 800,000 of assets.
When it left?
And RBC, December 31st, 788,000.
So went from, okay, so 799 officially left Fidelity, and then RBC received 788,000.
Right.
So they took 11.
Well, remember, they moved in with 4 months, and they paid you $5,000 a month or $20,000.
So I don't understand. Like, what happened? Where's the 11,000? Why did they take that? I mean, there's way more missing than that. So I mean, that's just sort of like, in my view, if I may say so.
They're paying you $5,000 a month.
Okay, and
so in 4 months they paid you $20,000.
but that's not 11,000. So what's the 11,000 difference between 799 and 788?
$9,000, which is what they gained.
What they gained?
You look so funny. Yeah. What? Yeah, because basically.
What they gained?
Yes.
From when to when?
From the time it was transferred to the end of the year.
Okay, the thing is, I was under the impression that the entire portfolio was sold at RBC and money was transferred to RBC, correct?
It was.
Okay, so then why was some money removed before it was transferred?
Why was the money what?
Why is there 11? Like, that's just one thing, and I just want to focus on it just to try to understand. Why was 11,000 removed if they sold off the entire portfolio and transferred that much money in cash? Because they didn't transfer that in securities. So that's what I'm trying.
20,000 was removed.
20,000.
Which is the 5,000 a month that's with you.
799 minus 20 would be 779, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said 788 moved.
Right.
So that doesn't make any sense.
799 moved. 788 is what they have left.
What they have left when?
As of December 31st.
Of 2023?
2023.
And when did they move it?
They moved it. In August of 23.
In August of 2023.
Uh-huh.
Okay. September, October, November, December. It's 4 months. There was also in the changeover, there was like a month or two that I didn't get a check, and then maybe they added some later. I don't know. So where's it at now? Like, what is, like, as of today, like, what's the balance of my trust? You know, I've never received statements all year. Not one.
I only get them once a year.
How do you only get them once a year?
That's all I need them for, is to prepare the tax return.
But maybe that's not all I need them for or she needs them for. There's many issues that I wanted to come discuss with you today. One of which is like, you know, my mom is not 100% there. Okay, mm-hmm. You may think so. I disagree. Okay, and it makes a difference, especially when those around her are kind of making decisions that affect us, like, you know, really, really bad. She mentioned to me, and this is why I wanted to come talk to you, because it's been a year since the first time we spoke. Correct? I've never received a statement from RBC, and she said to me, she says, Richie says that RBC is doing a good job.
They are.
It doesn't matter if they make 1%, 5%, or 10%. If they refuse to provide me statements and they execute the trust in bad faith, the money doesn't matter. If they destroy my family because they're getting a 10% return, they're not doing a good job. When I had to go commando style a year ago into their office to try and find out where my trust went, that's not acceptable to me.
Let me look at the...
That puts me, that's called financial abuse. I shouldn't have to run around chasing all this information.
I understand. I'm looking at now.
My point is the culture of what has gone on here has to change because it's been very abusive and selfish. You know, my mom just spent, I think, 200 grand in a parking lot, right, for a building that has no traffic. My sister didn't go to university, okay? And there weren't any other follow-up experiences to try and help her meet people or gain a network. It just seems like for the last decade or more, my mom has gotten carte blanche to do whatever she wants, hurt those around her, and no one took like a moral standing and said, okay, like, this is wrong. It's wrong for you to invest all this money in things that are distracting and hurting your health and distracting and hurting your kids, but not ever making, like, we've had inflation the last few years. We've had the purchasing power of these trusts has gone down every single year. We've never had one meeting as a family. Not one meeting with you, my mom, me, Eric, and Michelle all together as we should have.
Right.
I think that's wrong, and I'd like that to change. It doesn't help us to keep us financially illiterate. The trusts have underperformed greatly, and that's not okay, because this is like, it was a real big opportunity, $30 million 20 years ago, for it to be mismanaged. These are big numbers. Do you have, like, you can't say to me, like, you only get, with all due respect, sir, like, it's not right to say I only get the statements once a year. That doesn't help me. A lot can happen, especially when you have all that money invested in securities.
That's all I get them from.
That's not okay. That's unacceptable, and that has to change. I mean, even corporations meet quarterly. You know, like, that's not fair to us. Like, I understand that you're doing a job, fine. You might be doing, but you can't have it this narrow scope. You know, it's not fair to us.
Well, I do the tax returns once a year.
Okay, I don't need that. That doesn't help me, because all that does is give my mom an opportunity to financially abuse us and to distract us and to make us not know what's going on with our money. And that's happened for many, many years.
Well,
let me ask you a question. When did you start working with my mom?
Oh, like 2019. 2019.
Are you certain about that?
No.
Okay. Well, let's say it's been at least 5 years, right? 5 years is a long time. A lot has changed in the last 5 years. We went through COVID, we went through crazy inflationary stuff. Never had one meeting. Not here or with RBC or with Fidelity. So I'm trying to see, like, how is that in our interest? Like, ultimately what you are doing your job for and what RBC is doing their job for, it's to have us have a stable and better future. But if we don't have stability to the point where my sister gets so sick that she goes to the hospital, something's got to change.
Well, the only thing I'm doing is they hired me to do the tax returns, and that's once a year.
And I'm saying, with all due respect, sir, I don't feel like you can just take on that role in such a narrow scope. To say, like, oh, I'm just doing the tax returns for the trust. I mean, basically, it's an annuity. We get $5,000 a month. We don't need all that. Do you mind if I ask how much you're charging my mom every month for what you're doing for me, my brother and sister? Or every year? Because it's not helpful to us. It's not helping us now.
Okay.
Like, I've never gotten one of those returns from you. Have I?
I emailed them to you, the K1s.
And even that was sort of incomplete. Like, that's like last 2 years since I started, like, communicating with you guys. I don't know why the communication wasn't there from the start. And it's put us in a bad place. I really, really, really want to go after RBC and Fidelity for what they did. It's not okay for them not to give me statements. It's not.
Well, RBC, I can see because they didn't give you the statements.
No, like, not only did they not give me statements, they took on the account in bad faith. Like, they were planning not to give me statements. Did you not see the video?
Video?
Michelle, give me your phone. Here, give me your phone real quick. I need to play something from YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, I believe I sent this to you. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'll send it. I emailed it to you for sure. I think you've been privy on some of the recent emails between me and RBC. I think maybe you know what's going on, or if you don't, basically they took the account in bad faith. Okay. They planned on not giving me statements via a guy named Reed Paget, who was some guy that was over at Fidelity. Now my point is this, is like, I got one email from this guy, John, right?
Okay.
He said the account was worth $14 million, right? So when I called Fidelity's representative before they like threw away our account over to RBC, they told me that the average was 4% a year for the time that we've been there since 2005.
Okay.
None of, when you look on like Fidelity, like large growth equity or any, none of them have 4% as a rate of return. They're all 10% to 12% to 15%.
Yes.
And my point is, while we were all stuck at Blum's, which we were, I started there when I was 24 years old. I'm 37 now. This has been going on for a long time, and it shouldn't have. Because my grandfather didn't make all this money, close down the store, and say, here. He gave it to Fidelity to say, hey, manage it. In 2005 was when I graduated high school. I was supposed to have access to that way, way sooner. And what they did was, they just kind of didn't tell us about it. They didn't give us statements. They just said, oh, we're just investing.
No, wait, in the car.
Yeah.
To the key.
Yeah. Yeah, so they just kept like, $13 million for like 20 years without telling us about it. And they didn't want to tell us about it because they stole the opportunity that we were supposed to have. And that's why I asked you, like, it's been a year since RBC has had the money. How did they do this year? How's my account doing right now?
It's doing better now. RBC is doing better.
I don't think so. I've never seen a statement. So I don't know how they're doing.
I've got the end of the year statement.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really not trying to give you a hard time. I understand you got your own things you're dealing with, but like, my sister went to a hospital a year ago for like mental illness. She never had mental illness. And she was neglected so bad that my entire year has been occupied trying to keep her alive.
Huh.
That's not okay. That's a whole year of my time now. Like, not to mention the many years that have passed that we got like fucked with, and it's enough already.
This would be similar to the first statement right
Okay.
there. The fidelity is before that.
Okay. So this is, if I'm reading this correctly, it's at 788,000,
Right.
and 799 was transferred 1 year prior.
No, it was transferred 4 months prior.
Okay. So how did they do this year?
How they get what?
This is December of 2023. We're in October of 2024. I want to know how they did all this year.
I don't know. Again,
That's
I don't
crazy,
know the statements.
Richie.
That's what
I
was
want to
saying.
love you, but you can't tell me that. You can't. You say you don't check on them in the whole year. You just check in once a year. That's not acceptable to me. Can I say that?
Sure.
I don't think that works for me.
Remember, they hired me to do the tax returns.
Okay, whoever's,
That's once
but
a
that's
year.
not acceptable because they're hiring you into a position that's hurting me. Based on whatever it is you're doing, it's hurting me and my sister and my brother. He doesn't realize it yet, but it hurt him too. And it's also obstructing justice. Even if you just work with this 1 year, you should still advise my mom, like, hey, like, I don't know, like, this is not how this should be going down. Yeah, like, I don't know, why would she just hire someone to do why only address the government's needs and not like the actual beneficiaries' needs?
Because the government will enforce their needs. I mean, they'll,
But
they'll do
if there's no
that.
beneficiary, there's no government needs to enforce. Like, we're the primary. We should
The
be.
government requires you to file a tax return.
Yeah, and my grandfather worked his butt off and wanted us to have a better life, and the money's been stolen, as I see it, by everyone just kind of doing their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unacceptable that you only like look at the trust once a year. I don't think that's okay. I don't even know how that's even ethical.
That's all.
What is that? How does that benefit me?
To keep the IRS off your back.
That's not a benefit. That's not a benefit because you know what I could do? I could just take my money and leave the country, and then I don't have to worry about the IRS anymore. That should have been an option available to me.
Well,
If I don't want to play this game, I shouldn't have to. And just because you like keeps the IRS off my back that's not good. I need more than that. I need someone that can like understand what's going on in the world and advise my mom correctly, because we're losing money every year. We're losing value. Yeah, I mean, your predecessor, Carolyn Morgan, didn't provide statements either. And I think some people were like negligent, like when they restarted Blums. They should have never authorized money to go into a situation that trapped us for many years. Like, yes, of course we own the building and we should be able to use it, but it shouldn't have been, like, my mom wants to go buy more furniture inventory for the store. Living Spaces just opened up a brand new building across the street. They're dead. Is she crazy? Who's enabling this crazy?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Man.
Did you tell her you think it's a bad idea?
I did. I told her that she released the building a long time ago.
Okay. Maybe that's correct, but also, can I ask you a question? Whose idea was all this rent? Like renting houses from my parents? Was that yours or Fidelity's?
Oh, Fidelity. It was Fidelity.
It was Fidelity's idea. And what was the purpose of it?
Basically, it was like to try to conserve the principal and generate income to pay you and your brother and sister.
No, like paying rent though. Like why were we renting our parents' properties with like money that was coming from the trust? Like whose idea was it to start paying rent? Like we never paid rent to our parents before, and we occupied their houses when we were working at Blums.
Because basically, as you said, the furniture business has not been very good.
So they needed more income?
Yeah.
Okay. They have $14 million in liquid assets. We have not much, me and my brother and sister. They don't need more income. They didn't need a monthly friction point to start an argument over. We're starting to build our lives. We left Blums, which is a situation we should have never been in. And then all of a sudden now we start getting our trust, and then all of a sudden we have to start paying rent because she wanted to diminish our freedom, diminish our purchasing power, diminish our disposable income. That was intentional. The people around her must have seen that, which includes you and Fidelity. I think the rent was a really disgusting sort of friction point that Fidelity, or maybe, I don't know who created it, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that Fidelity created it, to start fights in our family, because that was part of their plan. If they divide a beautiful family, then we can't invest our assets properly, they get to control them for longer. That's what happened. That's like, before I sue just them, like everyone around my mom who kind of just let it happen without saying like, hey, this is wrong, should also be held liable. You can't do that, sir. Then you need to exit stage left, because you're not giving me any information. I don't need people having eyes on my most valuable asset right now who are not giving me the information I need, who are not giving me valuable information, the necessary information. Huh?
I give you the year-end statements right there.
I don't need that. That doesn't do me any good.
Yeah, you need the current statements.
Yeah.
And I don't have those.
Well, do you feel it's your responsibility to retrieve them? I mean, you know that I'm not getting them, so that means that we need to file a lawsuit because something bad is happening.
No, the only thing I was hired to do is the tax returns.
Yeah, I hate when people do that. I hate when people just say I'm doing my job, but it's it's not what you need at all, and it's not being helpful at all. I think that's negligent. To say I'm just doing the tax returns, but what about your whole other financial picture? And I don't even want to consider that. That's wrong.
I've not been hired to do that. No.
You should not have been. You should not have been hired to do a task that was so limited in scope that it was negligent. What about the rest of the account? What about the rest of someone's assets? How can you get a financial picture for someone? I didn't sign into those tax returns. And I'm of age and majority, I'm not, who signed the tax returns? My mom does not have power of attorney.
She signs the tax returns for the trust because she's the trustee.
Is she acting like a trustee? Do you think she's been acting in good faith?
Yep.
Really? That's why her daughter ended up in the hospital and has never gone to university and all. Like, I want to know exactly, like, if we take it to court, I want to know exactly how much money she spent on herself and the Houstonian and the store and all this stuff, and how much actually went to her kids of this trust. Because it is a generational trust. It is a family trust. It wasn't hers to go act like a tyrant and abuse people with.
Well, there's several trusts.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And keeping us in the dark over all of them is really stupid.
Well, I remember.
Like, we should be trusting people that don't want to.
The largest trust are for her. The largest trust are for her.
But after she's gone, they go to us, and we should be managing it throughout all these years, and we'll be better suited to manage it if we're involved now, than to kind of go with the sort of bad faith that has been going on. Yeah. That whole concept of you right there saying that, like, it's hers, is really unhealthy for her. It's really unhealthy for her to feel that way, because it's not hers like that. It wasn't hers like she earned it and put it in the bank. It was set aside for her to take care of her kids and her family and everyone have a good life. And she's kind of been made a prisoner. Like, my parents are paying monthly bills that they should, like, where is their real accountant? Like, who's one that actually just helps them have a better financial life?
Well, you know, she kind of manages that herself.
Why? She's not good at it. That's why I'm saying you're like a professional. You have like some sort of like financial credentials or something, right? Like, why, like, you can't just sort of say, I only, like, you have a fiduciary responsibility to act properly. You know, like, you
I'm
can't,
not
like,
a fiduciary.
your
contract.
role gives you fiduciary responsibilities for sure. You have to act in the best interest of all of us, not just her. And so when you take the mentality that this is her, the largest one is her trust, and then all these other trusts are hers to use as like sort of weapons to, like, you know, control her children. You see that happening. You're not dense. Like, you've seen that happen, right?
Yeah.
She's controlling us with this money. Yeah, right? It's called financial abuse. That's wrong. So you're a witness to it and you said nothing. And that's wrong. So I didn't want to waste the time with this. I really don't appreciate it. And it's not going to continue anymore. I spent the last year trying to keep my sister alive, and she was a beautiful singer, and no resources were into her education, to her health. And now there's only resources, to keep her medicated in Houston and hurting? No, that's not okay. You guys all need to get a reality check right now.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about her illness.
Yeah, like this, I don't know. It can't continue. You have to know, okay? Or you need to exit this role, okay? It's not personal, but you can't do a half job. You have to either do a thorough job, you're dealing with people's futures, or you don't do it at all. Is that fair?
No, it's not.
Because you want to make money. You want to unjustly enrich yourself at our expense. You don't care that we're being financially abused. You don't care that we're being misled.
Hard to do.
That's bullshit. Excuse me.
I
I don't care what you were hired to do. I don't know what this is.
That's all these statements and the 299s.
How much did my mom pay for this, for you to generate this big file? I'm just curious, annually, how much is she paying you?
You know, probably $700 or $800.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore. All right, Mr. Simpson. Like I said, if I have to sue my mom, I'm suing everyone around her that didn't do a good job, and who was just taking on a job so they could make money, but they didn't give a shit that we were getting hurt, and that was wrong.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Take care.